just looking at the last 2 years in general, man, it's been a wild ride. Like, I've been able to accomplish so many things. I've, been traveling my ass off and just going everywhere. Like, not only have I kept up with a full TNA schedule, I've also maintained a full independent schedule as well. So I trying to epitomize the phrase of fighting champion, and just like that grind is something that has always like been my identity. Like, that's how I got noticed. That's how I've always put in work. So when I first got back into wrestling after my injury and being out 14 months and all that stuff, and when I made the choice to bet on myself, and I left the other place, and I left the whole tag team thing, I knew I had to hit the ground running and go back to the roots and go back to what I know, and that's that grind. So.
What's going on once again in Cheech La Casa in this special episode? I'm not here alone. About to spin the block with my main man, the first Puerto Rican TNA champion. Let's put that out there.
Oh, yeah.
How proud.
Hold on, wait. I'm sorry to cut you off. You got to say it again. You got to say that shit twice.
Oh, I got to say that shit twice, right? The first Boricua puertorriqueño representando de Naguabo, Puerto Rico, via BX. We're going to spin the block one time with my main man, Mike Santana.
What's up,
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm blessed to have you here.
Yeah.
Welcome to the land.
I appreciate it.
It's opening day here in the land, so it's a lot of things going on.
There's a lot of our people here in Ohio.
Oh, man. It seems like you was getting in Ohio. I see you've been in and out.
Just, being a world warrior over here.
Yeah, and carrying that right there has to do a lot, what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm gonna go in real quick because I can't get past, like, you see that heat? You see that heat, my man?
Always. Gotta keep it right. I'm from New York. We gotta represent.
Yeah, that's the stomp a hole on a, what I mean?
Yo, dead ass. Phone posits, 100%. So everybody, like when I was in high school, everyone that had phone posits got busy. So these are like I'll stomp your face in sneakers.
Yes, sir. All flavors, man. But we're talking about that, like, so let's say, give me your top 5 holy grails.
Oh, man. We were just saying, I think any kind of phone posit. I think threes, the original threes, I'd say flu games. I'd say 12s, the breads. I love the breads. Yeah. Man, there's so many. What else? Ones, of course.
Ones, but with everything.
Yeah, exactly. Ones for sure.
Is it like, let's say, they mean to you as in, like, let's say, what that particular player did on the shoe, like, had a lot to do with it?
I think for me more is just like, for me personally is just how, what was worn when I was growing up. You know what I mean? Like that 90s, early 2000s, like it was like what was popping at the time.
No, and remember they were in plastic. You didn't have to wait in lines. You just went to the store. They were the plastic. They were there, and the prices. It was.
Bro, I'll never forget. So that hype sneaker culture thing started when they dropped those pigeons, right? Like those dunks that had the pigeon on them. That was the start of, because I remember going to school, and that morning I saw it on the daily newspaper.
Word.
And it was like fights breaking out online in Soho because of this sneaker. And after that, everybody had to wait online for a sneaker now.
Yeah. I went through that phase, and I'm glad that I don't have to do that now. I'll drop a little extra if I want them, but it ain't that deep, man. But here in town we got Rebellion coming up April 11th. Yeah. Huge,
absolutely.
Especially with Cleveland. Cleveland is a big wrestling.
Always
town.
has been.
And we show love, and it's especially, like I said, might be a little biased, but having a Puerto Rican champion, headlining, in my town, so it's like by any means necessary, I had to be here.
Hell yeah.
What's crazy is it's going on 2 years since you coming back to TNA, 420. for those that celebrate it. No, you came back at Rebellion, so it's like now, you back as a champion 2 years later.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, just looking at the last 2 years in general, man, it's been a wild ride. Like, I've been able to accomplish so many things. I've, been traveling my ass off and just going everywhere. Like, not only have I kept up with a full TNA schedule, I've also maintained a full independent schedule as well, Yeah. So I trying to epitomize the phrase of fighting champion, and just, like, that grind is something that has always, like, been my identity. Like, that's how I got noticed. That's how I've always put in work. So when I first got back into wrestling after my injury and being out 14 months and all that stuff, and when I made the choice to bet on myself, and I left the other place, and I left the whole tag team thing, I knew I had to hit the ground running and go back to the roots and go back to what I know, and that's that grind. So
no, and it so improved. Every person that was along the way were part of your journey.
Absolutely.
To get to where you get there. Like I said, I'm here in Cleveland. We drove, like I said, to Slammiversary because he's in New York. There's no way he's gonna lose. they ain't gonna. They're not gonna do that. But that's part of the art and, like, the suspense. You know what I mean? You think it's gonna happen, but it's not gonna happen. But it's like it has to. It has to. And then it didn't happen again. So it's kind of already like they playing with my emotions. You know.
Yeah.
But it was a matter of time, and then it came to the big news, AMC. A big network. First episode, my main event, and he brought it home.
Yeah.
And it's been next to him ever since. And that, watching it on TV, like, I don't show emotion, but we come from this small island, and 100 por 35, and our pride for our own is best, bro. We could be playing rooster fighting or roach racing, and if that motherfucker have a Puerto Rican flag, we are gonna root for that. Dead ass. So seeing your progress, even though all your personal tribulations and stuff that is well documented, it just had built you into the persona that it's like when we talk, and I'ma say it, you Puerto Rico, Bad Bunny, everything that he does or whatever, but my Santana been holding the flag, for a while, and always representing. So just seeing you, man, I salute you. You know what I mean?
Appreciate
and it's pride because it's now AMC is watching one of my own. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing, brother.
Yeah.
And I want to ask, since you from the BX or whatever, so you've been there before, but you just recently this past week was at the Mecca, MSG.
Yeah.
How this time around felt being at the Mecca?
It was awesome, man. Like, it was definitely an emotional night because the last time that I was there in 2019 actually, was the first time I got to wrestle there. That was the last time my father saw me wrestle in person before he passed away. And but, like, knowing that I made it back a few years later, this time on my own merit, on my own, and it was definitely emotional. So before the show even started, I went and sat in the stands exactly where my father sat.
Wow.
When he was there to watch me. So I sat there and I just shared a moment with myself, and I told him, like, ready to have fun? Because we're going to have fun tonight. And, man, like, that crowd, they ate it up.
Yeah,
like, as soon as I came out, bro, like, everybody was on their feet, and they gave me their energy, and I gave it right back, And there's, like, it was just a good feeling, a validation feeling, and something that, like, it told me, yo, we've been riding with you this whole time, and they've been behind me, and it feels good. And going back to the Slammiversary thing, right, and just all those emotions and all the the beauty of pro wrestling is that we take you for a ride, right? And we take you on this emotional journey. And I think the last 2 years I've done exactly that. I feel like everything that I've been through, and like it's had you guys want to ride with me even more, you know.
Definitely.
So
I remember after Slammiversary, I stayed there, just watching like, but he was supposed to win.
Yo, my mom was going to a car and she called me. I was still in the back and she was like, "Yo, there's people out in the like parking lot yelling." And I was like, "Yo, we're about to cause a riot." Yeah, I was like, "Yo, we're about to riot out here."
Yeah, that the drive back. I stayed in Wayne. So on the drive back, it was kind of quiet on my part, but like I always felt that the end game was gonna be that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sometimes you got to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, right?
Oh, definitely.
And it's hard sometimes, but ultimately, like being in this position, like especially for me personally, like when you're in this position, you have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. You can't always get caught up in your emotions as much as easy as it is to do that. You know what I mean? There was countless times where things happened the way that they did, and I'm like, yo,
you gotta be rational.
Yeah, but also I'm like, yo, I'm about to throw hands with somebody. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, what's best for the show? What's best for the story? And I think that's what separates top guys and girls from everyone else, is the fact that we have to look at things from a different lens. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's great. One thing I want to say, whoever's behind them immerse, that little doc that they made, Chef Kiss.
Yo, shout out George Barbosa. The entire Toronto team. Okay. Like they spend hours putting these things together. They work endlessly with it's amazing what they do.
No, it was amazing just watching it, rewatching it again, and Slammiversary, and then just the road to get to Bound of Glory and stuff like that. It was like, wow.
And it was real.
Yeah, no,
it was all real.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. I felt I'm a girl dad.
Yeah.
I'm a girl dad, so seeing how you are with your daughter, and like, not saying that but unfortunately, social media, we get to see them grow through the lens and how much it means to to you. So like, I would like to ask you, like, in a few words, describe what is to be a girl dad.
Man, it's the greatest feeling in the world. Being a father in general, right? I think for me, that's God's greatest gift to me in my life, right? Yeah. But being the father to a young girl, you're her first love.
Yeah.
Right? You're the one who shows her how a man is supposed to treat a woman. And that's something I'm so conscious of, right? And because, of course, we want our kids to have the world, right? And for me, I'm always conscious of, like, this is how I want a man to treat my daughter, right? Mm-hmm. And I treat her as such, right? And it's funny because whenever I pick her up from school, like, I'll wait in my car, right? But when she comes out, I get out of my car and I open the door.
Probably about to say that.
So her teachers, which are women, like, her teachers notice that, like, all the time. And there was one time we went to a parent-teacher conference, and her teacher was like, I hope you know how crucial and important that is and the bar that you're setting for your daughter. And I'm like, bro, like, everything I do in my life is purpose driven, right?
She's the reason.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very conscious of those things, but also in how I speak with her and how I treat her and how I, like, since she was a young girl, like, I've always spoken to her like a human being, not like a child.
Yes. I had that issue, not an issue with my kids, because before you call, no answer.
Mm-hmm.
The reaction was, oh.
No, yeah,
now it's like, hey, mama, I called you. I hope everything's well. Give me a call back. Because it's like you want them to pick up and, not being there, we
No, yeah.
worry about them.
Yeah, of course.
So I totally get that, and I respect that. And the opening of the doors, that I take pride in that.
100%.
And
100%.
everything that you say that is kind of showing them. At first, they looking at me like, "Yo, you in my way." Like, no, I'm trying to open the door.
And it's the same way. And it's the same way with how I treat her mother.
Mm.
I treat her mother with the utmost respect.
Yes.
Despite anything.
Yeah.
Her mother is like, like for me, bro, like that woman, no matter the situation, no matter what, like, she has everything. You know what I mean? And even if the relationship is different, like I'm thankful that her mom and I have the relationship that we do. But like I treat her with so much respect because that's what my daughter sees too. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that's the mother of my child, right? She gave me the greatest gift that I have in my life. And aside from that, she's dealt with some shit, right? Yeah. She's dealt with my shit. So,
especially being a father at a young age, we see different things so different.
100%.
I look back like I cringe because now I don't want to give up my age, but I got 2 daughters graduating high school, next month. So and it's like I still see them with the eyes.
Oh yeah, that'll never change.
Yeah. So sometimes it's like I'm trying to be talkative, emotional, and they're like, "Really, Bobby?" And it's I just want to tell you how much I love you.
That's why, like now with my daughter, I always try to maintain open communication, even with the uncomfortable things, right? Like when it comes to boys and stuff like that. Like I'm the one to ask her, like, "Hey, is there a boy that you like in school, or is there someone you crushing on, or is crushing on you, or whatever?" Because I feel like it's so important to have that communication, because the last thing I want is for her to hide anything from me or feel like she has to be scared to tell me something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'll joke about it. I'll be like, "Yo, as long as he get good grades and he treats you nice, we good." Yeah. Papi don't have to show up with his guns out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely something we gotta look up for. And it's a testament of your parenting. The mother. Yeah. So shout out to the mom.
Yeah.
That's a blessing, man. Getting ready to finish here. I want to also ask you, like, who inspired you in life? It's kind of on the
in
same
life,
line.
in general. My father definitely inspired me. My grandmother.
Well.
My grandmother. Oh man. My grandmother came to this country. 15 years old, not knowing a lick of English, and somehow, some way, graduated high school, went to college, had a great job, raised 3 of her kids in the projects, and but aside from that, the pain and the struggle that she's endured in her life and how gracefully she's moved through it.
They don't make them like that no more.
Bro, like I there's this one instance that lives with me and will live with me forever. And this is just because of what she's been through and what she's had to endure, right? When my father passed away, that was her first child, right? And I remember maybe like a month or two, I was at her house and everything was still fresh, and I'm having and at that time when my father died, like I lost my shit, you know what I mean? And I remember having a conversation with her, and I remember her telling me, I was crying and I was just asking why, and I was, and I remember her looking at me and she was like, "I wish I could bring him back, but I can't. What can I do?" And that shit, still to this day, is like, but her strength and resilience and just her will to constantly move forward and her strong faith in God is like unmatched. So, yeah.
The matriarchs, yeah, they're important, my abuela was like that in the sense that kept everything together,
Yeah.
and they made it look easy.
Yeah, yeah.
And
they I don't know. It's
yeah,
like
yeah, and it's just that because they're you know they're believe in
yeah,
God,
yeah,
so
100%,
so
100%.
that's amazing, man. But another thing I want to ask you too is like everything you've been doing, you've been hustling, doing the indies, making all the shots, being a father. So how you feel what you have to do to secure your legacy?
Legacy in wrestling is cool, right? And of course, like we all strive to leave something behind and leave something that people remember and all those things. My real legacy is being a father. That shit is forever.
Amazing.
My real legacy is being a man, and what I was able to leave behind for my family. And because that's the important stuff. Wrestling shit is cool,
Yeah.
but like that real life shit that's what I want my real legacy to be.
Wow.
I want it to be of an amazing father. I want it to be of amazing family man, a guy who looked after and took care of his family and who stood true to himself no matter what. You know what I mean? And that's what I want my legacy to be.
Oh, it's amazing, man. Man, I appreciate and thank you for giving us that opportunity. But before we leave, I want to ask you about this Feast of Fire match.
Mm-hmm.
You got somebody from Boston.
Mm-hmm. God bless him.
Like, how do we end up here? Like they say, 3 things in life is secure: taxes, death, and Edwards getting a title shot.
Yo.
But
how does that even happen?
I don't know how it happened, but like the New York Boston, I like that. He got you over this last time that y'all met up, but it's kind of great just having that Boston New York rivalry
for sure
coming in. So
thank God it's not happening in New York or in Boston because I think
and it's thing like no respect, we here in Cleveland, we probably hate both Boston and New York when it comes to baseball and basketball, respectfully. But seeing that match here, it's going to be Santana all day, spin the block 1, 2, 3 all day. So anything you want to say about that match?
I mean, Eddie Edwards, I'll give him this. I have a lot of respect for Eddie Edwards for what he's done. He was someone that we have very similar paths when it comes to pro wrestling. We both came from very successful tag teams. We branched out on our own, became very successful singles wrestlers. So that story within itself is there.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
we have a lot of similarities. We both have a hard-hitting, no-nonsense style. And I think it's going to be a great fight, but ultimately, like, I got a lot more to prove, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to prove why I'm in the spot that I'm in. You know what I mean? And when I look at Eddie Edwards, at least the last couple of years, I see complacency and comfortability, and that shit doesn't exist in my world. So he's going to find out firsthand.
Yes, sir. April 11th, Rebellion, TNA in the land. You hear that? TNA in the land? It sounds so beautiful, you know what I mean? So I can't wait to be there. So everybody, man, get there, buy your tickets, TNAmerch.com. I want to thank, the man right there, Senor Ross, for giving us the opportunity. Mike Santana, thank you for giving us the time. And, being yourself, man. And as a Boricua, I gotta tell you, man, super proud.
Appreciate you.
You know what I mean? Whatever you do from now on, man, you got a fan for life. You know what I mean?
Appreciate it.
Safe travels going back home. You know what I'm saying? God bless and good luck. Well, good luck to Edwards because you're gonna be fine.
100%.
Mike Santana, March with Mikes. This has been a special program. So, see you down the road, guys.
Appreciate you.